Do you ever get in a rut? Do you ever get sewing burnout? I have, and I'm going through it right now. If you want to hear more, and also talk a little bit about other things I'm working on and some November noir or Noir November, stay tuned. Hello all, and welcome to Killer Kitsch Lizzie, my weird little place where I like to knit and sew and do other crafty things. Bunty says hello. Just to get it out of the way, what is Bunty wearing? It is the last test knit I did for Tasha Could Make That. It's called the Royale. I did mine in a kind of a peachy color. I am currently working on another test knit for her, so I will come to that in a moment. But first I want to talk about sewing burnout. Because I'm going through it right now, and I also know why. Keep doing this to myself, but I never seem to learn my lesson at all. The reason I'm going through burnout right now is in October, I pushed myself really hard to make a Halloween capsule wardrobe, and unfortunately, I didn't make everything I was going to make. Because by the end of sewing the things that I did, which you saw in previous spooky sewing videos, I just I didn't want to keep sewing. So I ended up making 3 tops. One was not a Halloween top, but it was making Rita blouses, so I thought I'd make it. Plus I did 2 skirts, one of which was the bat skirt, which took a really long time to make. And I think that might have been why I got burned out. And then I was still going to do a dress, and I wanted to do a couple boleros, but after doing the skirt, I was like, I'm done. Don't get me wrong, I loved making that skirt. I'm going to make more in the future, possibly for Christmas. I'm still figuring out my details on what I'm going to make for Christmas. And I'm going to be doing, Cricut tutorials, but I think that should have been a one-off project, not combined with a whole bunch of other sewing. It burnt me out. I've had a really hard time getting back into it. Like, I have a Presley shirt behind me that it's cut out, it's been serged, it's been marked, it is ready to go. I just haven't felt like sewing it. I also have to do my final haslam. I still haven't done it. Everything's cut out right behind me, ready to go. So that's gonna happen at some point soon, I hope. And the other thing, the other reason I want to get my Sujo back, my sewing back, is because I want to make a Christmas dress, possibly a skirt. I'm gonna do a dress for sure. If I don't get the skirt done, I'm not gonna fret about it. But I want to make the I don't know if this is gonna show up very well. I will pop up a photo if I'm able to get a good photo of this. This is from Gertie's Patreon. It is the Maria bodice, and I want to do a Christmas dress, either by a border print, like an already made border print, or do another Cricut border print. This time I won't do the border print will be larger, so it's less cutting out, less weeding, less pressing. I'm just trying to decide what color the base of the dress is going to be, and that will determine if I'm going to do sort of retro vintage ornaments, or Christmas trees or presents or snowflakes or something like that. Also, the thing that's also going to determine whether or not what I do is the wearability of it. For me, I'm not really a Christmas person. I'm definitely a Halloween person, and the things I make for Halloween, I can pretty much wear all year long. Christmas stuff, not so much, because it's a very specific thing. Whereas, for me, I'm still a goth, even though I dress vintage or vintage inspired. I still wear a lot of gothy things mixed in with what I'm wearing. So to do a very specific Christmas thing is going to kind of limit how often I can wear it. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I do know for sure it's going to be the Maria bodice. Just I have to get myself motivated. I've got like everything's printed out, instructions, the pattern pieces. Maybe if I tape the pieces together, I don't know. Maybe that'll get me going. I don't know. Anyone else going through this? Anyone else burn themselves out on either knitting or sewing or other things? Yeah. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to get out of that funk right now. I'm gonna have to get out of it soon, especially if I'm gonna make a Christmas dress. You know what? If I don't, it's not a huge loss because I have a lot of red, like dresses and garments, other things that I could use for Christmas. We'll see. Anyway, I'm just really working hard to get out of that funk. And I know once I get out of the funk, I'll be like a sewing maniac again. It's just, and I've gone through this a few other times. Like what I'll do is I will put too much pressure on myself to do things. Like, I don't know, was it 5 or 6 years ago now? I can't remember. I decided that I was going to sew a thing every week for a full year. So 52 pieces. It didn't have to be a garment. It could have been other things. Could have been sew some napkins, sew undergarments, sew pajamas, like, I don't know, sew a pillow. And I did it. And by the end of that, like the last few months, I was like, why do I do this to myself? And then another year I did with a bunch of other people, sew a dress a month, which we did over on Facebook, hosted on Facebook. And I think I got around like September. I think it was something like that. It was at the beginning. It was during the beginning of the pandemic too. So going out and getting fabric was a problem. Or if I ran out of notions, I mean, I was able to order stuff online, but it became a problem. Anyways, by like September, I was like, again, why did I do this to myself? Why am I like forcing myself every month to do it? But in the end, I had 12 dresses. So actually, I think I ended up with 13, to be honest. But yeah. So if you're going through a sewing funk, or you have in the past, what did you do to get out of it? Like, what made you want to sew again? So leave a comment below. Please give me some advice because I'm really forcing myself at this point, and I don't want to do that because if I force myself to sew, I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm just not going to like it. So I just want to quickly talk about a couple of other things I'm working on right now, and then I'll get to the Noir November part of this. So as I said, I'm doing another test knit for Tasha Could Make That. This is called the Midge. It is, oops, as I poke myself. It's that's why. Kind of like based on like vintage boxy knits. I unfortunately didn't give myself enough ease on this, so it's not going to come out very boxy. However, I love the way this fits. It fits me perfectly. I'm very happy with it. The color isn't coming out exact. It's coming out a little brighter than it really is, but this is like a navy, and this is like I guess like a raspberry. So the body is completely done other than weaving in ends, and I just need to on sleeve 1, and then I need to do sleeve 2, and they're actually, because they're being knit from the top down, the sleeves actually go faster than when you're knitting from the bottom up because you're decreasing stitches as you go down. So I should be done this very soon. I'm really happy with it. It's in double knit too, DK, so that's so pretty. Okay. I'll moon over this a little while later. And the other thing I'm knitting, I've wanted to knit this for a really long time. And I bought the pattern at Subversive Femme. Probably can't see this at all. I might have my light on too bright. I don't know if I'm getting washed out. I'm going to come close to the camera. Again, it's going to probably get blurry, but And I will pop up pictures. There is a colored photo of this, and then there's a black and white one. Anyways, it's called, it's from Patton's. It's called 10 of Hearts cardigan. Tasha Could Knit That did a version of it, but she changed the collar. I know there's a few more floating out there. If I can find them, I'll like put links below. I think it was Instagram where I saw them. Anyway, this is a really interesting pattern. Now, modern knitters will either do a top-down or bottom-up design in the round usually. Same with if they do a cardigan. This is a cardigan. And this pattern is a bottom-up, all-in-one knit. I think is that what they called it. Knitted in one piece is what it's called. So you knit the body all the way up to the armhole, and then you split the front to the back. And so it's sort of seamless. So there's no side seams, right? And then the thing that makes it not a fully knit in one piece garment is you do have to knit the button bands separately and the arms separately. However, if you wanted to take the time and do a little redesign of this pattern, you could actually incorporate the button bands into the pattern so that you don't have to knit and sew them on separately if you want it completely seamless, as well as use the technique of like in this sweater, where you pick up all the stitches and you do some short rows at the top, and then you go down and pick up stitches as you go until you get to the bottom, and then you knit the sleeve out. Because there's no puff or anything in the sleeve. No, so you could absolutely do that instead of seaming it. And because, you know, the neckband is, you pick up the stitches. So this could totally be turned into a seamless sweater very easily. Also, the beauty of the sweater, it is knit in DK, but the knitting needles are, I don't know what this is in the US sizing, but in UK sizing, it's needles 4 and 6, or 6mm and 5mm. So it's going to knit up very fast. I just cast this on this morning. Oh, and the other really cool thing about this pattern, it has a hem. Because I will knit sweaters and with the ribbing at the bottom, and you know, they stretch out, right? As you wear them. This is going to hold its shape, which is amazing. I'm really happy about that. So how the hem is knit is first you do 3 1/4 inches. I'm just guessing. I'm not looking at the thing right now. I'm trying to remember. You do 3 3/4 inch of stockinette, and then you switch to ribbing, and then you knit till the whole thing is 7.5 inches. And then once you're at 7.5 inches, you fold the bottom up. And then what you do is you pick up the stitches as you're knitting the first row before you do the ribbing. You pick up the stitches and knit them together with the other thing. Oh no, wrong. Sorry, that is completely wrong. You knit the 7.5 inches, you fold it up, and then you knit a row where you are picking up a stitch and knitting the two together. And then you continue on with the rest of the sweater. And I love this. I love this technique. I have knit other sweaters with hems before, but they're more like a boxy style cardigan. They weren't like a fitted type thing, and the hem was like very short, like an inch or an inch and a half. But yeah, I love this pattern. I haven't only gotten this far, but I already love this pattern. And even the lace part for the heart, the instructions are very clear. Now, is this a beginner's pattern? No. Unless you're a very advanced beginner, give it a try. This is more for somebody who has some experience. You don't have to be like, you know, a very experienced knitter, but you have to have some experience with like some of the terms on here, because otherwise you're not you're gonna get frustrated. Like with the lace part, is what I mean. You're not, yeah. So if you are comfortable with doing lace work, then do it. Do it. And the pattern is at subversivefemme.com. Go buy this pattern. And yeah, I wanted to talk about Noir November. And I just noticed my cards fell on the ground, so I'll be right back. And I'm back. The reason I have cards is because even though I watch a lot of noir as I'm filming, I can't remember the titles of things sometimes. Even though if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I can immediately like pull the name out of my head. But because I'm filming, I'm probably gonna forget. Yeah, so what I've done is also I'm watching a bunch of noir that I've never seen before, which I have found on YouTube. And what I've done is I have a playlist on my YouTube. So every time I watch a new noir, I'm going to stick it into that playlist, and I'm going to link that below. So if you want to go check them out, please do. So some of my favorites, I'm not going to talk too much about them because like you can look it up. Internet Movie Database has like really good information, or Wikipedia. So I'm not going to go into these big long speeches about each of these favorites. Just for time too, because I don't want this to be like a crazy long video. I know the last one was a long one, so you probably don't want another 45-minute video from me. Anyway, so some of my favorites are, and I'm losing my voice a bit, I apologize. It is really dry in here. It is November, of course. Heat's on. It's really dry in here. Oh, and there's a couple of challenges going on Instagram. I'll link them below. I think it's called, I'm not 100% sure what her account's called. I look at her account all the time. I'll put the link below. It's either Miss 1940s McCall or Mrs. 1940s McCall. I'm sorry. And then there's a couple other ones, so I'll find those and I'll put those below. Go check them out. I think you can join whenever too. You don't have to start on November 1st. So yeah, my first favorites is Gaslight with Ingrid Bergman and Charles Boyer. I've seen this movie multiple times. And also, if you've ever been in a situation where somebody is gaslighting you, either they don't know that they're doing it because they don't know what it is, or they do and they don't want to admit it, make them go watch this movie. Then maybe they'll clue in that they're gaslighting you. Yeah, I thought this movie was like super creepy, and I like that. And I love the ending. It's such a good ending. Go check that one out. So the ones I'm mentioning, I don't think any of them are in my list because they're all copyright. The ones on my list are probably also copyright as well, have a copyright on them, but somehow the people that have posted them haven't been discovered by the system yet. I don't know. Oh, sorry. Also, raise your hand if you're a Fritz Lang fan. I love Fritz Lang. I have always loved Fritz Lang. I'm more of a 1920s like silent movies and pre-code. Those are kind of more of the movies I love the most. I do love noir, and I feel like, you know, he really hit his mark in a couple of the noirs he did. And one of them is called A Woman in the Window. This movie is beautiful to watch, not just because the way it's filmed, because I gotta tell you that his use of light and shadow, my god, oh, I covered my mic, sorry, it is just beautiful. Also the garments, like whoever, I can't remember who, I don't remember who dressed the main actress in this. I can't remember it. I think it is somebody famous or very well known. Yeah, the costuming is spectacular. So check that one out. Yeah, unfortunately, oh, you know what? Actually, YouTube does allow you to rent movies on there, and I don't No, I do. I believe that I have seen all of these movies that I'm mentioning for rent on YouTube. So yeah, check it out. Look to see if they are there. And it's only a couple of bucks, I think, if I remember correctly. Also, if you live in Toronto, the Toronto Public Library has two streaming services, Hoopla and Canopy. I believe there's quite a bit of, well, there is some, there's maybe not quite a bit. There is film noir on those streaming services, as well as you can borrow movies from the library. That's if you're in Toronto. I'm sure other libraries around the world do the same thing. So yeah, if you can't stream them somewhere, check out your library. So yeah, so I mentioned Gaslight, The Big Sleep. I have seen this movie twice on the big screen now. I've also seen it. There was a film noir movie night that used to happen in Toronto. They haven't done it in a long time. The pandemic kind of stopped that. Hopefully they come back. I think it was called the Film Noir Syndicate. I hope they come back. They're really knowledgeable about these movies, like incredibly, incredibly knowledgeable. I learned a lot by going to these movies and the talks ahead of time. It's based on a Raymond Chandler novel, and it has Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in it. You know, the queen and king of noir are in this movie. They're in a lot of the noir movies I love. Also read the novel. I have it on an ebook. It's a great read. It's a fast read too. It's not a huge novel, so of course, Double Indemnity, of course, with like Barbara Stanwyck and Fred MacMurray. Fred MacMurray, you know, you would know him more for comedies and like My Three Sons. We would watch reruns of that all the time when we were kids. Because we had 3 channels growing up, and one of them would play reruns from like the 50s all the time. He's amazing in this movie. I gotta tell you, people that do a lot of comedic roles, when they do a serious role, they're killer. And he's killer. See what I did there? The Big Heat is another one that I love. It's with Glenn Ford. It is super gritty. You feel the heat in this movie. Like when you're watching it, you actually can feel the actual heat and grittiness of this movie. It's probably one of my top favorite movies. Again, it's another Fritz Lang movie. These are not in order, by the way, because I don't have a top. If I did, this would be near the top. Yeah, it's another Fritz Lang. It's another great use of shadow and lighting and camera angles. Yeah. I guess a lot of noir uses really good camera angles. Yeah, so those are the really well-known ones that I suggest that you go take a look at. If I can link to any of them, I will below. Yeah, so that was just my little bit about sort of being in a sewing funk. Again, if you have a remedy for this or suggestions on how to get out of it, please put them below or tell me your story. A little bit about the things I'm knitting right now. One of the other things I'm going to be working on very shortly is going to be a Christmas project for YouTube. And I'm also working on another secret project, and my samples are now done. And now I just need to write it up, write the pattern up. So those are the things I'm knitting right now. Once I get those all done, I think I am going to take a break from knitting. I'm usually one of those, if I'm sitting, I'm knitting type people, but I need to give my arms a break. I don't want to give myself carpal tunnel. And I do notice that when I'm knitting for long periods of time, like, you know, I start to get tight in here. So I do stretches all the time. I suggest you do as well, like, you know, just pulling your fingers back, pulling your hand down, different kinds of hand stretches. I do them all the time when I'm knitting, before, during, and after. So if you are somebody that knits all the time, do stretches. That will save you from ruining your hands, because I gotta tell you, and the reason I started doing this was I can't crochet for a long period of time anymore because I gave myself tendonitis in my thumb, which thankfully has not flared up again, but when I'm crocheting, because of the way that you're moving your wrist, I do notice that I have to stop very frequently because I do start to feel it getting tight. So if I had been doing stretches, that might have not happened. So that's my knitting PSA and a little look at the things I'm knitting. So let me know what your favorite noir movies are as well. Put those below. If I haven't seen them, it will give me an opportunity to see something else. Let me know what you're knitting. Let me know what you're sewing if you're sewing. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Would love it if you would subscribe. I'm trying very hard to grow my channel because I'm having a lot of fun doing this. And I hope you're enjoying my videos. I am trying to improve them each video. Better lighting. The mic seems to be helping. I'm getting a lot of good feedback about the mic. The sound is better apparently. So yes, that is it for now. Until next time, stay kitschy, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.